How humanistic thinking enriches our everyday life. Why are there so many conflicts between people these days? Technology keeps advancing, but are our lives truly becoming easier? In a time when artificial intelligence does many tasks for us, we now face an important question. What is something that only humans can do? To answer this question, we need humanistic thinking. We make choices every day, build relationships with people, and think about the future as we live our lives. But what if we could see all these things from a slightly different perspective? That power comes from humanistic thinking. So, how can humanistic thinking make our everyday lives richer? It begins with empathy. Why is empathy important? Because it is where relationships begin. When we read literature, we experience other people's lives indirectly. When we learn history, we come to understand the worries and conflicts of people who lived in different times. As these experiences build up, we gradually learn to understand how others feel. Then, how might our relationships change? We begin to understand our parents' lives, and conflicts between generations begin to fade. Our conversations with friends become deeper. We begin to hear not only the words on the surface, but also the feelings behind them. Empathy becomes the starting point for changing relationships. Humanistic thinking also helps us connect different ideas. Can you imagine a moment when different things come together? Steve Jobs created the fonts of the Mac using calligraphy that he learned in college. At first glance, this may not seem related to the humanities at all. Yet connections like this create something new. A sense gained from art becomes design, and insight gained from history becomes strategy. The humanities are also a way of understanding the lives of people who lived before us. We learn about life through their choices, failures, and efforts to overcome challenges. The story that Edison experienced many failures before inventing the light bulb shows us that failure is not the end, but part of the process. Stories like these give us the courage to try again. Another important part is asking questions. The humanities continue to ask, why? When we question things that seem ordinary, new ideas begin. Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and From the Earth to the Moon later became reality. George Orwell's 1984 imagined a future world. Isn't it amazing that imagination often comes before technology? That is why humanistic thinking often stands at the center of technological innovation. Steve Jobs once said that Apple stands at the intersection of technology and the humanities. Technology solves problems, but humans decide what counts as a problem. Finally, the humanities help us reflect on ourselves. How well do we really know ourselves? Literature reflects our emotions, and music calms our minds. Art asks us a question. What kind of person am I? The process of searching for the answer to this question is itself part of the humanities. When we are physically sick, we go to a hospital. But where should we go when our mind hurts? The humanities can be one answer. In the end, all of this helps us understand our lives better and live more fully. The humanities are not something distant or grand. They are the power that helps us look more deeply at our lives. So what question can you ask today?